Hey there everybody, and welcome to this first impression drive on the launch of the all new MG HS. Hope you enjoy. So welcome everyone to the launch of the all new MG HS. So this is the flagship that MG have just launched, and it is replacing the GS SUV. So this is an all new car. They've now got 4 models in their range, including the ZS and the ZS EV, along with the small 3 hatchback, and I'll put a link up to those review videos at the end of this video. So let me take you through the new HS. Now I'm going to completely gobsmack you because this car starts at under £18,000, and it is something the size of a Qashqai. So whilst you're kind of picking your jaw up from the floor, let's go with a tour of the car before taking it for a quick drive, and I'll kind of go through some of the key features of the vehicle. So this is the top of the range exclusive model, so it has got near enough everything bar the kitchen sink. And firstly, let's have a look at the car. I mean, it's stunning. I think it's a really attractive, good looking car. There's clear MG elements with that big Galaxy grille, and got LED lights. That's the first for, I believe, on MG. And we've also got some daytime running lights as well, very much in the same style as the ZS and the 3 hatchback. But we've also got scrolling indicators on the front and rear of the car. Now, with this being the top of the range car, of course it's going to be a little bit more expensive. It is around £25,000 depending on what transmission you go for. Now this has got the DCT or dual clutch transmission, and you'll get to hear what I say about that when I take it for a drive. But let's take you around the car, shall we? I know I've been talking long enough. So as I mentioned, at the front it is very clearly an MG with that big grille. It's a very attractive and bold grille, the largest MG badge they've told me to date so far. And this is also the second car to feature MG Pilot. So this is a new raft of safety systems in terms of driving aids. So the first one at the bottom, we've got a sensor there, so that's for the adaptive cruise control. And we have at the top of the windscreen there, you can see the little triangle for the camera. That's for like the lane assist. So we've got the headlights there, and they've got a nice bold look to them. Again, very MG-esque, but they are very distinctive, and when you're driving, this car does stand out. We've got the fog lights as well, with some chrome surrounds and and some chrome kind of effects at the bottom, or aluminium effects should I say, at the bottom of the front bumper there. Coming round now, we have got 18-inch alloy wheels. These are diamond cuts on the exclusive. Now they don't get any bigger, and that's actually a good thing when it comes to ride comfort, which means you get a nice compliant ride and also limits the amount of road noise into the vehicle. Now I'm going to take a step back because there are a couple of cars when I look at this that I can kind of see hints of. So the first one, well, we can see the MG ZS, we can see the family resemblance there, but also I can see a little bit of Renault Kadjar in there, and I don't mean that in a bad way, particularly with the rear haunches of the car. And as we come round to the rear, we will see that the styling is replicated at the back of the car as well. Those are some lovely distinctive lights, and of course we've got the big MG badge, and this is something I really do like. Just going to pan down here. We've got twin exhausts, and they are real exhausts, so that's something of a rarity in this day and age, especially with sporty cars in this segment. So let's take you on to the interior, because with this being an MG, and if you've seen my review of the MG3 and MG ZS, you know, these are kind of budget cars in a sense. So is it budget on the inside? And I can tell you right now, I do apologise for the steering wheel being in the wrong spot, it is a resounding no. I mean, just look at this interior. I apologise for my bag being here, but it is a launch. So let me take you through it. Firstly, soft touch plastics here. We've got leatherette here on top of the console. We've also, I'm going to step into the car, got leatherette here with contrasting red stitching, a 10.1 inch touchscreen. Now that is standard throughout the range. We've also got, I'm just going to turn the car on so I can right the steering wheel. There, and let's just drop that down. So we've got the 10-inch touchscreen. I do apologise, there's a car going past. Now you do get sat nav on the exclusive. You also got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Underneath, a couple of air conditioning vents, and then we've got all the piano keys. Now you can't see anything on there in terms of what they function because it comes up on this screen here. Now I will turn the car on. There you go. So you've got volume controls. Oh, there you go. I'm using the volume control. We've got your home button for the sat nav screen, so if I peer up you can see that there. We've also got a car button, so this is for car functions. So there you go, you can see everything there on the car. If I scroll down, we then have the air conditioning buttons. Now this is where it's not unlike something like the Peugeot 3008. So you have to press that button and then it goes up onto the screen there, and that's where you navigate the air conditioning. So yeah, that's one of the things that's kind of a bit Peugeot 3008-esque in terms of you've got your heated seats as well, which is a nice function. I'll just turn them off, and then you've got where, you know, the direction and everything you want there, and also for where you want your temperature to be. So in terms of when you're using that whilst driving, it can be a little bit fiddly, but it's a nice clear screen, quite easy to use. You know, I'm all old-fashioned and would love some rotary buttons, but never mind, I will forgive the HS because of the price point where it sits. Now below the piano buttons, let me just get the camera sorted. So we have got a nice little area here, so if it's covered up it looks like that. Now watch this, it's dampered. So look at the volume down. That's got a very premium feel to it. I never expected that. And underneath you've got two USB sockets, so you can see that's your main one there, secondary there for charging a phone, and a 12-volt socket. We then have on this car, which is the DCT, the automatic transmission. So we've got a boot opening release on the left hand side along with your start stop, and we've got your hazard lights, and we've also got your drive mode, which I'll go into once we get driving. And then behind here we have got a couple of cup holders. I will move my terrible stuff there, but they've got some decent sized cup holders, and also got a decent sized center cubby with some, which is air conditioned as well. Now I'll just spin her around to the glove box. As you can see there, we've got a decent sized glove box with a couple of bottles of water, but there's no book pack or anything, so I don't know how large it is and how much room that's going to take up. And then finally I will just show you the door bins. They are of a decent size, but they're not lined with any fabric, so anything loose in there is going to rattle around a bit. And if I pan up, again, the interior or the panels on the doors are leather with the red stitching, and even the top here is soft touch plastic. That's a huge highlight on the car. So I'm going to press the off button here, and there might be a bing come up. No, there isn't. This here is the light that comes on when you got your blind spot monitoring. It's not the brightest, I will be absolutely honest, when you're driving, but you know, at least it's a safety feature you got on the car. So next up I'm going to come out, spin round, because I need to show you the seats. And how gorgeous are they? They are electrically adjustable here on the Exclusive. You've got some lumbar support there, but look at them, they are very lovely. And when you sit in the car, the only issue I find is that I do actually sit quite high up. So if anyone's over 6 foot tall, you'll have to let me know what you think when you sit in the car. But I love the design of them, and it's, you know, I think that's real leather. It could be leatherette, I'm not sure, but you've got some Alcantara just on the outer edges there, but they are absolutely comfortable as hell. And I'm going to mention this, the Super Sport button. We'll go into that later. So that's the front seats, and then in the back, so that's my driver's seat set to my driver position. I am 5'7" tall and 5'7" wide, and I've got plenty of knee room there. Actually, that looks really good. I have sat in the back of the car and there is plenty of knee room. The seats themselves, again, they're leather with a little bit of the Alcantara in the center, and they do recline, so there is a little bit of room there for them to recline, and I do like this. So look at that for a center armrest. So firstly, you've got some storage space there, that's really handy. That's quite nice there, it's a nice feel. And then you've got a button here, and there's your cup holders. I'm sorry, but I think that on this price point of car is absolutely brilliant. If there is a downside, there is no through loading here on the center part of the seat, so for any kind of skis or anything like that. But again, we are going to forgive the HS for that. And I do like these airplane style pockets. They feel really nice, and really well made. And on the exclusive you get a couple of air vents, and look at that, 2 more USB sockets. That's absolutely brilliant on this car. And also soft touch plastic. How many cars in the back have got soft touch plastic? And also got leatherette with the red stitching. I'll be honest guys, first impressions are really good on the new HS. Now let's get the boot open. It is starting to rain, so I'll be quick. Power tailgate on the exclusive, and there you go. So I've got my stuff in the car to give you kind of an idea of how big the boot is. Believe they said it was around 460 litres. If I'm wrong, you'll have that come up at the bottom of the screen. But it's a nice usable space. Some of its rivals have got more boot space, but again, it's a really nice usable area. Underneath the floor is a little bit of extra storage space underneath there in your warning triangle, and then underneath there is room for a space saver spare wheel, or as what this car's got, a tyre puncture repair kit, and you'll see a photo come up on the screen. So let me just get there you go. So that's the power tailgate working. So I'm just going to do a final bit as before we go for a drive. But that is the walk around section of the all new MG HS. So I've got to keep the camera steady, it's a bit windy as well. First impressions are incredibly good on this new medium-sized SUV. You're expecting something like a big ZS and you are not getting it. You're getting something far more premium, and as I said, this starts at under £18,000. I'm completely gobsmacked, but now let's take it for a drive. So once you get driving in the all-new MG HS, first impressions are actually really good. It feels very comfortable to drive and very easy to drive. Visibility is really good as well. We got some reasonable size A-pillars, around about the same as anything else in the segment. And if you look over your shoulder, you've got a couple of windows in the C-pillar to help with your blind spot. But on this exclusive version, you have got blind spot monitoring as standard. Rear visibility is also very good as well. However, the actual headrests for your 2 outer passengers are full-size headrests, so it does cover a little bit of the rear window. But apart from that, it's actually really good. And then we've got the wing mirrors, which are absolutely bloody huge. And I've not driven at a speed yet if I can tell if they give off much in the way of wind noise, but so far, so good. So yeah, first impressions of the all-new MG HS are very positive. You can definitely tell MG have thrown everything at this car to give it a premium quality feel in what is a very competitive segment. So what's the ride and handling like in the all-new MG HS? Well, I gotta say, very good. I'm pleasantly surprised by it. As I was driving along on a number of A roads, it dealt with the bumps and imperfections really well. Yes, some of the larger manhole covers and potholes did resonate into the cabin, but other than that, it dealt with them really well. I was thoroughly surprised. Now, I am driving on an A road now, so I can go 70 miles an hour, which I'm doing, and I'll be absolutely honest, this feels really refined. There's a little bit of wind noise coming off those massive wing mirrors, but I'm not surprised by that. But overall, I am actually really impressed. I'm not having to raise my voice. There's not a huge amount of tyre roar coming into the cabin. If anything, the only thing I'm getting is a little bit of wind noise, and that's it. I'm genuinely gobsmacked. This is actually a really lovely, refined car to drive. And I think one of the things that does help with that is that you've got 18-inch alloy wheels, and those are the largest alloys you can get on the HS, which means unlike some of its rivals where you can get 19 or even 20-inch alloy wheels, you're not going to get any additional road noise coming into the cabin or any kind of extra booms and vibrations resonating into the cabin. So MG have been very clever in making sure that the largest alloys you can get are 18s, and it just means you get a wonderful blend of sportiness in terms of the look of the HS, especially in this exclusive trim, but also refinement. That's the key aspect. I am genuinely gobsmacked by how it rides on the motorways or on this A road here. I am really surprised, and it's a huge positive. And again, it shows that the guys at MG have thrown everything at this car to make sure it could be the best it can be in this segment. I am really, really surprised. And what's great is on this exclusive model with the DCT gearbox, you do get adaptive cruise control, and you also get traffic assist as well, which means that it will bring the car to a complete stop and it will kind of nudge you forward in traffic. So it really helps with a more relaxing feel and drive to the HS. It's got a lot of kit on this car that you'd have to spend at least £3,000 or £4,000 more on some of its rivals, and I genuinely mean that. That's something that the guys at MG have shown us today. I'm blown away. I really am. This, for a motorway cruiser, this is doing really well. Now granted, there are no diesels available, so you're not going to get the economy of some of its rivals, but if you need to do what we call a blat down the motorway, yeah, you're not going to get to your destination with blood coming out your ears or your head ringing. You're going to get there feeling comfortable and relaxed, and yeah, with a smile on your face. You're going to be surprised. Really, you are. Now, there is only one engine to choose from in the HS range, and that is a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol unit producing around 160 brake horsepower, so it's a little bit more than its equivalent rivals. And you can have that mated to either a 6-speed manual or a DCT or dual clutch transmission, which is what I've got here. And with the DCT, it's actually a very lovely combination. For the most part, it drives in a very relaxed and refined manner. It goes through the gears, you can't actually hear them, and it does a lovely job of just being a nice, relaxing car. Now, when you've got the car in normal mode, and I'll go on to the drive modes in a moment, it's absolutely fine. But if you need to overtake quickly and put your foot down, there is a little bit of a hesitation. It's not as bad as some kind of CVT gearboxes, but there are a couple of dual clutch boxes out there that are just a little bit sharper in responding. However, if you do decide to put it in sport mode, for example, it does actually work really well. It does kick down a lot quicker and hold on to the revs.
Half a mile, keep right.
I will do. And hold on to the revs really well for you. But there are actually 5 drive modes on the HS. So we have got the 4 normal ones, which are sport, eco, normal and individual, and we've also got super sport, which is located here on the steering wheel, and it looks absolutely brilliant. It's just like what you'd get on an Audi R8 or the drive mode select on a Porsche. And I know it's a little bit of a gimmick, and calling it super sport is sounds a bit silly, but you know what, it's a great thing to show off to people. And when you do press it,
300 yards, keep right onto A272.
I will do. And when you press it, you get a little animation on the screen. You get like an MG logo spinning around a bit, and then it lets you know that you're in super sport mode. And what that does is it does, I will do, it does put weight into the steering. It holds onto the gears more, and they do respond a bit quicker, and also the suspension itself firms up a little bit. But whereas in some cars it feels really quite uncomfortable and a bit of a gimmick, it actually works pretty well here in the ZS. You can actually have it on super sport mode and drive around a bit and have a bit of fun. It will put a bit of a smile on your face. Okay, granted, it's not as much fun or as not much feedback in the steering as say it's a Tekka, but you know what, again, it's a string to the HS's bow, and I really do like it. Steering wise in the HS is actually not too bad as well. It's a nice light steering feel. It's nowhere near as heavy as its MG3 hatchback sibling, but it's nice and light. It's easy to drive. There's not a huge amount of feel through the wheel in terms of feedback through the front wheels, but you know what, it's nice and easy, and a lot of the cars out there now in this segment have got kind of the same feel to them. I mean, if you're after a really purist sporty car, then the Seat Tekka will definitely win hands down. But in terms of ease of use, ease of parking, it does absolutely fine. And I do love the feel of the steering wheel. I do actually like the perforated leather and the red stitching, again adding to that sporty touch. And again, yes, I just love the little red button for the super sport mode. I know it's a gimmick, but still, it's a really cute thing to see on a car in this segment. So what are my first impressions on the all-new MG HS? Well, I am thoroughly and genuinely gobsmacked by this car. You can clearly tell that MG have thrown everything at it. The level of quality on this interior alone just shows how much they really want to compete in what is arguably the most competitive segment on the market. The amount of soft touch plastics and leatherettes in this cabin is just unreal. You'd be hard pressed to think you're in something like a baby Jaguar in that regard. I also like the look, the exterior look of the new HS. Yes, it does show some kind of resemblance to the ZS, but it's just smoothed out, it's grown up, it looks a lot more upmarket at the same time. I'm just thoroughly impressed with what MG have done, and at that price point with this car, the fact that it undercuts its rivals, and some of them significantly, is a huge testament to the team at MG. Now, yes, you could say that there's only one engine choice and that kind of limits to what buyers are going to go for, but at the moment, MG need to see just how this car does, and then that way they might look to introduce other engines to the range. Now, there is a 2-litre turbocharged petrol that's available in China. Now, at the moment, that's not coming to the UK, but again, if they see the HS perform well, they might bring it in. There's also a rumour that they might add the 1-litre turbocharged 3-cylinder unit to the range with 111 brake horsepower. Now, personally, I think that might feel a little bit underpowered unless they could put a little bit of extra brake horsepower out of the engine. But overall, this 1.5 is a perfect fit for it, and I do really like it with the DCT. Now, yes, it is flawed. I mean, as I mentioned, in normal mode, there is a little bit of hesitation when you put your foot down and need to overtake. But all in all, I'm genuinely surprised and gobsmacked with what MG have done. In terms of the technology, in terms of the safety systems, they've taken a huge step forward for MG. In terms of interior quality, this is now a huge benchmark for them, and the next car they bring out, if it's going to be an SUV, because there is another rumour that they could bring out a 5/7-seater into their range, and if this does really well, then they've got to bring it out to definitely see what MG can do to compete with the likes of the Skoda Kodiaq in that sense, and the Peugeot 5008. I'd love to see. But this is a genuine surprise. I'm absolutely loving it. I think MG have got themselves a winner, and I really do hope they sell a lot of it, because 2019 has been a huge year for them. They've got around about 40%, I think, more cars sold than they did in 2018, and their new EV, or ZS EV, is also doing incredibly well. And although I've had only a very minor drive in that car, you can tell they've definitely started something there in terms of affordable electric cars. But back to the HS, I mean, yes, if they do an electric version of this, it would have to have a minimum of around 250 miles range, I think, to definitely compete in the segment. But if they can do that, then again, they'll have another winner on their hands. And if they could have that as sub 30 grand, I mean, I know I'm talking about things which probably aren't going to come out for a few years, but with the way MG are going, they could probably do that. But all in all, back to the HS, yeah, I'm genuinely surprised and gobsmacked. They've done a brilliant effort, and I really do like this new HS. I really am liking it, and that's on a personal point of view, not just on a AutoBears point of view. So everyone, I hope you've enjoyed my first impression review of the all-new MG HS SUV here on its launch in Hampshire. If you have any questions or queries about the car, I mean, I've only had a brief time with it, please put them down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell notifications icon to let you know when I bring out a new video. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and I always advise that you follow on there for additional content, including live videos and also still images. But again, guys, thank you for joining me on this press launch of the new MG HS. I'm genuinely and thoroughly surprised and gobsmacked by how good this is, and especially for the price that it also comes in. yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting one of these for a full review, because I think in what is a very competitive segment, this could do very well, and it could upset some of the established brands, but oh dear, how sad, never mind. But guys, have yourselves a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next video.